This project ties in with how we like to do projects, think about projects. It's building as a system, right-sizing the HVAC. In this case, it's only 1.5 tons. It's the smallest system commonly available. It's a 2-story home, so it's going to be zoned, a thermostat on each level. We're going to work closely with the team to ensure that the envelope itself goes well. By that we mean the exterior walls, the attic, and so forth is airtight. There'll be a spray foam sub on site. We will do blower door testing to verify that everything is airtight. We know we can air condition and dehumidify a house really well. We know we cannot air condition or dehumidify a neighborhood. So what we want to do is make sure the house is as reasonably airtight as it can be, as well as properly ventilated, and make sure we have the system sizing right. What you've got going on here is room by room duct design, so we get just the right amount of air into every room, as well as the right amount of air to the upstairs and downstairs zones. I know the team is paying particular attention to air sealing. We see the zip system tape really carefully applied. We know we're going to have plenty of spray foam and where it's going to be, and it's going to be a solid, tight spray foam job. We're going to verify that. We've selected equipment that will provide for the zoning, but also provide for really good dehumidification along with the air conditioning. In this climate, it's really the humidity more than the actual temperature that gets to people and needs to be taken care of. We'll strive for 45 to 50% relative humidity during most times of the year. One thing to point out in a house as a system, high performance environment, we want air sealing. We talked about that earlier, the zip system and the flashing details on the windows. Inevitably, however, there are penetrations. It's a fancy term for holes in the house. This penetration here, we're picking up our copper line set, which connects the indoor and the outdoor unit, as well as the control cable. But we used a hole saw rather than a jigsaw to make this a clean, easy to seal, easy to flash opening. Same thing here, make the hole no larger than necessary. That's the condensate drain line. Up high there is a 6-inch outlet that combines 2 bath fans. We were able to ventilate 2 bathrooms with a single outlet by connecting them together, only one hole. But simple details such as using a hole saw instead of a jigsaw means you have a cleaner look to the hole, but more importantly, it's going to be easier to air seal when the time comes, rather than a big jagged opening that's difficult to fit flashing onto. We use the rigid steel pipe rather than the what they call T-fin, which is a corrugated product. It's aluminum. It tends to get crumpled and it restricts airflow. So it's a little more labor, a little more cost, but it pretty much guarantees that despite this long run and a couple of elbows, that bath fan will function properly and quietly, but also move the amount of air we need to move out of that space whenever it's been used. Up here with this supply ductwork, one thing we often see in an effort to seal these tight, installers will use a strap and zip it up really tight. And what that'll do is it'll pinch the insulation on the ductwork, and then that ductwork won't insulate. It'll get cold enough to condense, and then you'll get sealing stains and that kind of thing. So our team is very careful to not compress that, but they maintain a good air seal with both tape and mastic. We have mastic that you can see, and then mastic on the inner layer that you can't see. It's what we call our 3 seals program. We have 3 separate, redundant efforts made at every joint to make sure that's airtight, that this stuff will pass a duct blaster test and put the air where it needs to be, not where it doesn't need to be. One of the key things that's going on here is if at all possible, with almost all projects, we try to ensure that everything in the HVAC system, air handler and ductwork, are all inside conditioned space. And to do that and still utilize the attic for ductwork, we go with a non-conventional attic. It's an unvented attic, so it's sealed with spray foam. The thermal and pressure envelope of the home, instead of being the ceiling, is moved out to the attic plane, and that means that everything we install can be inside conditioned space. That's worth about 30% in heating and cooling. If we did not have spray foam, if we had an air handler in a hot attic and ductwork in a hot attic, we would be at 2 tons easily, maybe even 2.5 on this job. But doing that ensures that the house leaks less air. It also ensures that if there are any losses from air handlers and ductwork, and there are, all air handlers leak a little bit, that those leaks are captured and contained in the home. We don't lose any of that air to the environment. We still keep it inside the home. So that brings the load down to 1.5 tons.